Put your feet on the ground. Absorb some sunlight. Breathe some fresh air. Eat healthy foods. Drink water. The simple things are what's going to help keep us balanced. The simple things that we already know how to do and we know that we should do. So if there's one should, it's that. Get quiet, get back to the simple things. Trust the first thing that tends to pop into your head. Trust your intuition.
Mommy, I should have lost Rippy.
Okay, I'll be right there. This is the Energy Within podcast, helping you to embrace your weirdness, find the confidence to be your true self, and fully step into your soul's purpose. My name is Carrie Jokala. I am your host. I am a Reiki master teacher, a fitness instructor, a wife, a mom to 2 little boys, and this is episode 158, and yes, we are still doing iPhone editions, and it will still probably be another couple of weeks because we are moving, which I don't think I've actually said, and so we're in not really disarray, but nothing's together, so hopefully in a few weeks we'll be settled enough that I can put the podcast equipment back together because I do miss it. So I'm not quite sure how much background noise you can hear. I'm at home. I'm not in the car, but the kids are here and they're doing their own thing and the TV's on. And so hopefully it's not too distracting in the background, but it actually creates kind of the perfect environment to go over today's topic. And it actually comes from a question I received looking for some guidelines on basically a routine for the morning and or the evening for aligning your chakras. And I've actually been asked that a couple of times recently. And while I know that I did many years ago prior to kids, I did a couple videos on my Facebook, and I think I did them live too. I think there were live videos. One on my morning routine and one on my evening routine because at the time, pre-kids, I had a morning routine and an evening routine. And it has taken some time and there's been a lot of up and down and back and forth with trying to establish a routine for myself again since having kids, which obviously if you're a parent, you completely understand. Your time is not very much your own anymore once you have kids. So I am going to share what I have figured out for trying to set my energy, get in control of my energy, and truth be told, I am nowhere near perfect at getting it to the level I want it to be every day, always maintaining it throughout the day, but I do know what works for me when I do it. So before we jump all the way in, I really have no reason to pull cards for this topic other than I wanted to pull a couple of cards. So I've pulled a couple of cards for you, and this time I have used my Star Temple Oracle, which I don't think I've used for a read for other people or even here on the podcast in a long time, if I've even used it at all on the podcast. I'm not sure I have. Maybe I have. I may have. Anyway, I pulled 2 cards, and without going into a long explanation of what this oracle deck is about, it does say on the back that the ancient wisdom of the Pleiades is weaved together with present-day mysticism to bring you uplifting and relevant insight. So it's kind of going into the stars, the constellations. So the cards are grouped into smaller groups based around different constellations. And both cards that popped out for this reading are from Tegeta. They are both related to the throat chakra. There's some really pretty blues in this card. And as far as these cards being grouped in the Tegeta category, This links in with the throat chakra to assist intuitive expression and truth. Tegeta helps you to seek the wisdom in your own stories, to move forward fearlessly and not get stuck in a repetitive story that no longer serves you. And the first one that popped up is the triple star grid. The word with it is align. And there are star words here: unite, clarity, and inner knowing. And it says, Tegeta is calling you to unite with the triple star grid that encircles our precious Earth Mother. Multidimensional transformation and higher streams of consciousness await you. You have the power to intentionally link into the electromagnetic halo of our sacred planet for clear cognitive messages. Claircognizance, or clear psychic knowing, is an intrinsic genius. Embrace it. Your spiritual growth is being accelerated so you can accomplish your higher purpose. Your stars are aligning, and you are encouraged to balance your chakras for clear, intuitive reception. It is your destiny to be of service to the collective. Okay, so a routine for balancing your chakras. And here this card pops up, and I was feeling like drawing some cards, so okay, fine, there you go. It was meant to be. The second card is the Temple, and it says, I no longer search outside of myself for home. Star words are lost, found, balanced. Tegeta reassures you that you do not need to seek outside yourself to find happiness, peace, or refuge. Go within and find your inner sanctuary to feel centered and at home. Be mindful of where you may be placing conditions on your happiness. A different location or another person cannot complete you because you are already whole. Desperately searching for a new home, workplace, or lover to complete you is giving your power away. Happiness is an inside job. Find happiness in the sacred now by discovering your inner temple. Which I find it really interesting that these cards came up, aligning with your higher consciousness and no longer searching outside of yourself for home. And that ties in with me of no longer searching outside of yourself for answers. And I don't want to get too off topic because this could be a completely separate topic all on its own that I'm sure I'll end up feeling comfortable and drawn to cover soon. But it goes so much deeper than I can explain in just a few sentences. But as cliche as it is, the answers are all inside of you. And so many of us keep looking outside for answers. And if we can just learn to get quiet and listen and to trust what pops up in our intuition that seems like imagination, we're going to find that peace and that happiness because we're going to have that knowing. We're going to feel calm. We're going to feel that peace. And that actually had just popped into my head today because as an entrepreneur, as a creative person, your brain is constantly going with new ideas and new thoughts, new ideas for new offerings, and then I've got to try to keep myself on track because I have other things already that I want to get working on creating, like that root chakra program that I mentioned. So I don't want to start offering way too many things, and that also gets confusing. I mean, have you ever been to Cheesecake Factory and looked at their menu? When people have too many options, they get overwhelmed and they shut down and they don't make a decision. But I know I've seen people who offer card readings sometimes offer emergency card readings. Like you can get your email within, the next 24 hours or something really quickly. And I was like, I just don't think I could ever do that because number one, I just don't have the time to promise that I can get a reading back that quick. Most often I do, even though the readings I do have up on my website that I offer, I ask for, I think, 24 to 48 hours, maybe even 72 hours. But either way, I ask for at least a couple day cushion just in case somebody purchases one that I wasn't aware was coming and I happen to be busy with other things for that particular day and the next day, and I just want to make sure that no one's expecting an immediate answer just in case I can't deliver. But most often I do try to get them within 24 hours, but I wouldn't want to promise that. So I would never want to offer emergency readings, and I also feel like I'm not faulting anybody for offering them. If they work for them and their clients, that's great. But for me, I feel like if you're labeling something an emergency and you want a card reading for it, It's because you're looking outside of yourself for answers. And in a situation where you're thinking you need an emergency card reading, I feel like you are so highly emotional probably at that point that the energy just isn't in the right place to necessarily get those answers. You need to calm, get quiet, and listen. So at minimum, if you're asking anywhere outside yourself for answers in a highly emotional state like that, I personally recommend that you try to get centered, to calm yourself, to calm your nervous system, to breathe so that you can be quiet enough to listen and be able to trust the answers that you get. If you're in a frenzy, then it's going to be hard to tune in. So that said, as we go into advice about a routine, no matter who you listen to, where else you look, whatever else you read or watch, don't take anyone else's routine as better than yours, better than what you were thinking of for yours, more effective than yours, and don't place any shoulds on yourself like, oh, this person seems like they've got it all figured out. I should probably do what they're doing. Don't give in to that. Listen to your intuition. And I was able to read a little bit further into this other book that I've started about. It's called Becoming a Medical Intuitive. And honestly, so far, I'm enjoying it, but really, it's not teaching me anything new or anything that I don't already do in my sessions, which is encouraging for me. But there was a whole section on expanding into the idea of your intuition feeling like your imagination. And I read that after I did last week's podcast. I read like one sentence, finished that part of the chapter, and it didn't really go on anymore about the imagination just yet. And then I took it and ran with my thoughts on it, and now I'm reading basically what my thoughts were in this book. So, intuition. But basically, it was confirming that whatever pops into your head first is your intuition. And it's going to feel like it's your imagination. Because we've been told, oh, it's just your imagination. Well, no, it's not just your imagination. It's your intuition. Anyway, you came here to talk about a routine. So let's talk about a routine. So, again, there's no right or wrong. Whatever sounds good, whatever feels best for you, whatever aligns better, whatever fits better into your schedule, that's what you choose. Now, I'm a Virgo. I tend to be, I guess, a little bit of an overachiever. And while I don't presently do everything that I would like to do in my routines, I have big goals. I have many things that I want to put in my routine. So, pre-kids, my routines, both morning and night, included doing a meditation. And I had my coffee in the morning. I think I had a tea at night and, prepping whatever breakfast I was eating in the morning. And I think at one point for a while, I was also making it a habit to watch a Darren Daily video. And then I was also reading, I can't think of the name of it anymore. I'd have to look it up. I think it was called the Daily Bible or something like that. And I was reading little sections of it. And it was actually an interesting way of reading it because there were almost like Cliff's Notes explanations at the beginning of each section, for lack of a better term, of how this was kind of broken up. Or I would read part of a personal development book. And this was all pre-learning Reiki and any of that stuff too. So I didn't have Reiki as part of my routine, but I definitely had meditation as part of my routine. And then having Teddy threw that all off. But then as he started to get better at sleeping through the night, I was able to start getting up a little bit earlier than him. But I had trouble figuring out what to do for my routine. So sometimes when I would get up, I'd find that I would just be drinking coffee and mindlessly scrolling my phone, and then, oh, look, it's time to leave for work. And once in a while, I'd be able to get in a meditation at night, but oftentimes I was just too tired. Or I would choose Netflix or Hulu to just get my mind off of everything instead of doing something focused and intentional. Even though I knew that I always felt better when I would choose the meditation. Then JJ came along, and JJ was a horrible sleeper and incredibly colicky for the first 2 years of his life. Welcome to my world. So I was way too tired to do anything at night, and there was no way I was intentionally getting out of bed any sooner than I had to, because my sleep was so broken up for so long, and I was not getting much sleep. And some of the sleep that I technically was getting really didn't count as real sleep, because I was sleeping upright in the glider, and that's not comfortable. That's not true sleep. That was just me so tired that I passed out while feeding JJ in the middle of the night multiple times. And then sometimes I'd wake up from that and then try to lay him back in the bassinet. And if he didn't wake up immediately, I'd be lucky to get halfway crawled into bed. Maybe I could get the covers back on top of me and he'd be awake again and we'd be back in the rocker. So it was rough. And as much as I wanted that peace and that morning routine back at least, I just couldn't do it. It was not the right season, and I needed the sleep. My body needed the sleep. So if you're in any season like that, please do not force yourself to sacrifice sleep just for the sake of establishing any kind of routine. Now, if you know that there's something that really helps you to focus and you need that for your day, then by all means do your best to include it, but please try not to sacrifice at least not a ton of sleep. You know, if it's getting up an extra 15 minutes earlier, okay. But don't force yourself to be like, okay, I'm going to get up 2 hours earlier. Because that's me raising my hand. Like, if I'm going to bother getting up early, minimum an hour before my kids tend to wake up. If I can do 2 or even more, awesome. Because these days especially, that's going to be about the only time during the entire day that I get any quiet time to myself where I can focus on anything. And no, this time right now that I'm recording this podcast doesn't count as quiet time, because it's not quiet. Granted, they're fine, they're occupied, but I also feel a little hurried anytime I try to do anything while I have the kids. And that's just me. That's not any pressure anyone's putting on me. That's just me. I'm like, I feel like I have to get back to my kids, you know? So anyway, if you're in a season that is taking your sleep from you, I believe that your sleep is way more important for all aspects of your health: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Sleep has to come first. So if you're struggling with your sleep, please do your best to work on that first. Although there are things you can do like meditation that can help your sleep, maybe do that before bed rather than forcing yourself to get up early. So in any case, for any routine I've ever established and my current semi-routine, I find it's better for me when I have a plan, when I know what I'm going to do in the morning, and also when I can prep as much as possible the night before. So I guess in that sense, I do kind of have an evening routine. I always set up my coffee the night before to minimize any amount of noise that I would otherwise make in the morning so that I don't wake anybody up, because I need at least my coffee in peace. And if I can get more time to get a few things done, that's even better. So I know that I have that prepped. I don't feel stressed about that when I go to sleep. And like I said, I have not been good about doing meditations at night, but I do highly recommend it, because I know that my sleep is better. I get better quality sleep when I do a meditation before bed instead of watching Homicide Hunter, Lieutenant Joe Kenda. P.S. just a side note, in case you missed Meditation March earlier this year, you can scroll back and find a whole bunch of meditations. I released one meditation a week during the month of March, which actually happened to be 5 weeks, so you got 5 meditations. And there's a sleep meditation in there. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback on all of those meditations. But also, you can download just the meditation. So getting rid of my podcast chatter from before and after the meditation so that it's just the meditation by going to the website, and you'll see that right on there, or you can just go under meditations and download it there. It's all free. So if you're looking for meditations to use for either morning or night or random parts during your day, I do have some for you. So go check them out. So then what I currently do when I wake up is make my coffee first thing. Because I've also found that anything I try to do before I have my coffee, all I can think about is getting to my coffee. So we have the coffee. I do put some intention. I put Reiki energy into my coffee. So bare minimum, if I get nothing else in energetically for any part of a routine, I get that. So it's kind of my failsafe to make sure I get at least a little bit of aligned energy. And you don't have to know how to do Reiki to put an energy or an intention into whatever you're drinking or eating. It's the same thing as praying over your food and your drink. It's just setting that positive energy and asking that energy then fill you up, that you absorb the nutrients that your body needs from whatever you're eating or drinking. Ideally, you're not eating or drinking anything processed while you're asking for it to nourish you. But at the very least, you can get the best possible out of whatever you're eating or drinking. And then lately it varies for me. For a while I was doing a 40-day Kundalini challenge. So every morning there was a Kundalini Kriya to do, and that took about 15 minutes. And after that, then I would move on. I would either just simply read a book, I would go through some of the courses or review the Reiki classes that I had been a part of as I was putting together the ones that I have now started leading, doing some work, putting some things together, working on my website, different things. So really my routine is just kind of getting myself to wake up, doing something to get a little bit centered, and then getting to work, basically. What I would like to add in, but it would require me to wake up a little bit earlier, and it would also require me to not spend so much time, honestly, scrolling my phone while I drink my coffee. I know. I would like to add in some yoga videos. There are little short ones on YouTube that my friend Logan Orihuela, who I've interviewed on this podcast before, has been putting out one every Wednesday. And I've done a couple so far, and they've all been awesome. But I have not been as committed as I would like to be because I know my body needs it. I also know that my spirit needs it. So I just need to get myself to do it. And then here I am as a Reiki master teacher. I used to be better about doing some self-Reiki in the morning, or at least at night. But recently things have just been so wonky, and then either doing other meditations that I was focused on, I would use that as my energy alignment, or I would just end up running out of time and not doing it. So really, like I said, my Reiki'd coffee has become my fallback, my failsafe. So I'm at least getting a little bit of something. But what I would like to do is some more intentional self-Reiki, even for just a few minutes every day. So that, again, for me, comes down to me having more of a plan in the mornings. So that's what I recommend for you, is write things out, ideally maybe the night before. Prep anything that you need, set out anything that you need for the morning so that you don't have to think about it, and so that when you wake up and you've forgotten what you wanted to do because you slept so well, as soon as you go to your spot, wherever you go in the mornings, you'll see it and be like, oh, that's what I was going to do. So set yourself up for success. cater to the human side of you and do what you need to do to make sure that you can stay focused and be as productive as you choose to be. Now, as far as anything specific to do to align your chakras, if you do not know how to do Reiki, if you're not certified in Reiki, things that you could do would be to search for meditations that you can do around either all the chakras or a certain chakra if you know there's something that you would like some help with. I haven't labeled any of the meditations that I have around any of the chakras specifically, but maybe some of that will be coming down the line. The one I can say for sure that would affect your solar plexus, if you happen to be looking for something for that, would be the confidence meditation from this past March. You can also just get quiet, put on some meditation music or some background music that helps calm you down, and just visualize all of the blocked or negative energy leaving through your feet, going into the earth to be transmuted and recycled, and then from your crown, from the top of your head, you being filled with this positive light energy that then washes down through the rest of your body, all the way out through your feet, helping to push that other energy out that you no longer need, that no longer serves you. Ask to be filled up with the knowledge and the lights and the energy that you need. You can even do that same thing, that same visualization during your shower in the morning, using the water as a symbol of that energy, cleansing your aura, cleansing you, getting rid of whatever you no longer need and filling you back up. And then grounding is very important and very helpful as well. And I do have a grounding meditation back from March as well. So that deals with your root chakra.
Are you done?
Almost. And even something simple like that, taking the time to ground yourself, is just by its very definition going to help calm you down, to help you get centered, to help you balance your energy. And it could even, again, be something even more simple than that, like just going outside and literally connecting to the earth, ideally through bare feet, but if you need to do it through shoes for whatever the reason, you can do that as well. You can just imagine yourself being connected and grounding into the earth. Getting outside, even when it's cold, going for walks, just being out in the open air, being out in nature, seeing the sun, getting away from all this technology that's always in our faces and always asking for our time and attention. I'm thankful for a lot of technology. I enjoy social media, but we weren't designed to be constantly using or consuming all of that. And definitely nowhere near to the level the vast majority of us tend to. So sure, do the meditations that are going to require you to take your phone with you, but then put your phone away and just go outside and listen. Which I know can be hard if maybe you live in the city, you're going to hear city noises too, but still just get outside. Put your feet on the ground. Absorb some sunlight, breathe some fresh air. Eat healthy foods, drink water. The simple things are what's going to help keep us balanced. The simple things that we already know how to do and we know that we should do. So if there's one should, it's that. Get quiet, get back to the simple things. Trust the first thing that tends to pop into your head. Trust your intuition. So I hope this didn't sound like too much rambling. I hope that this was helpful. We're all going to constantly feel like we could be doing better, but trust that you're where you need to be. Trust the season that you're in. It's okay to desire more. It's okay to desire change. It's okay to work towards something else, but don't beat yourself up for not being there yet, because that's not going to help. So I hope that was helpful. If it did, if anything resonated with you, please share it and help the show to reach more people. Send it to a friend or a family member, and or share it on your social media, and make sure to tag me, especially if you are on Instagram. Tag me at I am Carrie Jokala. If you do feel like you need that help balancing, please come see me for a Reiki session. My availability is slightly limited at the time of this recording just because of all the things that are going on. But if you are hoping to get in sooner than what you see open, please just reach out to me. I may be able to fit you in, but I didn't want to have everything wide open just because, again, everything we have going on. But reach out, can't hurt to ask. Otherwise, go ahead and book whatever you see available, and stay tuned for more info as I continue to work on this root chakra program that I'm creating. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.